Hey y'all, welcome in or welcome back to the channel. Today I have a different video for you. I have been in such a planner moment. We're gonna do some planning today. I'm also gonna be talking a little bit about kind of fixating on planners a little bit and sticking to my own advice of building habits instead of attempting to buy things to achieve change. Stuff is not replacements for habits. Buying stuff does not mean we'll use it. So here's what we're doing today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the planning moment that I'm in, kind of why I find myself fixating on some stuff and how I plan to, or like how this little setup here is combating some of my urge to buy stuff. We're then going to get into some of the planning. I have some Makselife worksheets in front of me and I'm going to be filling them out. I'm actually going to be doing some planning today, and there's going to be chapters available for when we start the planning and like the different parts of it. We're going to be doing, if you're familiar with the Makselife system, we're going to be doing the compass assessment. I'm also going to be doing the annual goals pages, and I'll explain more about, it's going to be November when this comes up, obviously not January. I'm going to be explaining a little bit about kind of like why now, and also that like there's so many resources out there available today, whenever today is that you're watching, that you could get for free to work on goals or plan if you just feel so inclined, and you don't need to wait to January. You don't need to buy anything, and you don't need to wait till January. You can start wherever you're at. And if you find yourself drawn to or desiring to plan and set some goals, and it's at a weird time of year, I think this video is for you. If you've been interested in the Makselife system in specific, yes, I have printables, but I think what draws a lot of people to the Makselife system is their goal setting system, which I'll talk about my feelings on it so far, and if I feel like the system works for me. I thought that this was like a for sure, like excellent, great fit for me. And after just doing some prep, I feel less certain about that. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I don't typically make planning videos on my channel. However, I've been doing a lot of planning stuff offline in my real life. And to be completely honest, I am having a very terrible allergic reaction all over my face. I'm not coming on camera. I just don't feel comfortable at the moment. I felt like there's probably somebody out there who's interested in Makselife or talking about planners or just kind of some of the feels of end of year stuff. And I think that there's somebody out there who might enjoy or benefit from this video. So here we are. We're going to chat a little bit first, and then we'll get into the planners in a little bit. Every year around the end of year time, like clockwork, I get the itch to buy planners and do all the goal setting stuff. I love it. I love it so much. And throughout 2024, I realized that like planning and goal setting, all of that, even like stationery stickers, bullet journaling, it's not just a passing fad. This is actually something that I enjoy doing a lot, but because there are consumables associated with this hobby or with this interest, it can quickly devolve into wanting stuff and buying it because it's fun or cute or things like that instead of actual functional need. This is my bullet journal, by the way. I learned a couple of things earlier in October. These realizations, which we'll talk about as we go through, they kickstarted this, like they really lit a fire to achieve some goals, because I realized some things that I thought were really lofty goals and like out of my reach are actually attainable. And that was super exciting to me. I found myself wanting to purchase planners and looking for goal setting planners. And I wanted to buy the Makselife system last year, but it was just simply out of my budget. So I didn't purchase it. And so I found myself in the midst of a perfect storm where I was looking to goal set right now. I was looking to plan right now instead of waiting until January, which is what a lot of things are releasing right now. A lot of the releases right now are for January. Makselife came out with their 2025 lineup, and that came out as I was already looking for stuff and I was reacquainted with it. I learned a lot about my planning preferences this year, and I kind of found the system that works best for me. That is bullet journaling. That is not a pre-filled planner. I already know what works. Their traditional planner is not going to work for me. However, they do sell their goal setting system separately from their planner. And it comes in like these quarterly little booklets, which are super cute, and I really wanted them. And then I was also acquainted with the power sheets. And so I felt pretty sure that I was going to buy the quarterly system from Makselife because it has all the goal setting stuff that I want without any of the planner stuff. And then once finding power sheets, I was a little bit confused as to should I get either of them, or if I'm just wanting to buy stuff that I will not actually use. So here's my plan. Makselife offers a ton of free printables, which you're going to see today, or this is what I have in front of me. And the majority of their content, like majority of their goal setting system, is available for free. So I am taking the next month to try it out, and I'm going to learn that it's either for me or not for me. And just by doing some of the prep work, I've already realized that it's not as perfect as I initially thought, number one. And then I've kind of gone back and forth of it not being enough support and thinking that the power sheets might be great support to thinking that the power sheets is too much support and like Makselife potentially being really great. So I've already kind of waffled a little bit or flip-flopped, and I think it's too early to really tell because I haven't actually gone and used it. I've just done some of the prep for it. So I am going to be setting up a Makselife system to use until the end of November. Both Makselife and Power Sheets, it's the Cultivate What Matters, I think is the actual brand. Both of these, there's no sales or anything happening right now. So I either buy it full price now or buy it full price later if I buy any of them. So I lose nothing by waiting. And if anything, I gain so much more knowledge and clarity about which one I want, if I want any of them. Because worst case scenario, I get my planner fix and I do my sheets, I have a grand old time, or I fall off maybe. And then I'm like, you know what? None of this is for me, and I buy nothing. Truly no wasted opportunities here, no wasted anything here. Best case scenario, this works amazingly and I buy it. Or even if it doesn't work and I'm like, you know what? I need more support. I'll just gain more clarity about what I want, while also getting to work towards the goals that I really want to work towards at this time. And I also get the next month to practice implementing this into my daily life and actually seeing if, even if this is a great goal system, does it work with like how I plan and operate. So we're just gonna get started. And if you're new to Makselife, here's how it goes. You do a compass assessment. This is the one that I was working on. They also have they have all of their colors. And I just went into my Crayola markers and I found the closest colors. I did print off. I got the closest colors, and I don't think that there's color names on any of these, but these are all the Crayola super tips that I have a really big collection of, and I'm perfect example, perfect way to use them. And don't they just look so cute? I've been having them in my little stationery cup, which I also just kind of brought out. So I have supplies if I need them. So you fill out the life compass and you do the assessment scoring in order to fill your compass. And then you use the compass to fill out your annual goals. And then once you fill out your annual goals, you do monthly goals. I have a black and white sheet. It's sitting somewhere. I was going to reprint that, but I'm like, this looks like garbage. It's so streaky, all of them, and super blurry. It's just not worth, it doesn't do anything for me to print this in color. So I didn't print out those ones, and we're just going to go with this one. So once we do the annual goals, we'll put them into the monthly goals, and I printed out one for November. We can do that for November. So I already began the assessment scoring, and I haven't filled in my compass yet, which we'll fill out after. And I just kind of wanted to do a double check before I mathed all of this. Before we get into the life compass and the assessment scoring, what I think is really important to know is that Makselife, they break up your life into 8 categories. Personal, fun and rec, work and learning, family relationships, health and wellness, spiritual and personal growth, financial and physical environment. And right off the bat, I thought that I liked these, but once I got into my own goals, which you will see, I've like kind of double labeled stuff because I'm not sure where it's going to go. And eventually, once I start working on some goals, then I will know that this like really goes into like one area or the other, which is fine. But there's so many. Hold on. I think I'll give you a clearer example of this. So here is a first draft of like a November goals. I have nothing for spiritual and personal growth and nothing really for physical environment. I just like toss something in here. There are so many areas. It just feels like a lot to be focusing on all at once. And you could easily say, well, like, it's totally fine to just focus on, let's say, 2 areas or 3 areas. But if you look at the annual goals pages, actually, we'll go to the blank one. What am I going to do? Just like have all of these blank except for like 2? You get 2 to a page here. So I guess technically you can maybe work on like 4 at a time. And then you can just keep the other blank and it's not so much a visual. But once you get onto these pages, it's just in your face all the time, to be completely honest with you. So I don't know if I like all of these categories. And this is an example of something that needs to be worked through in real time. So the assessment scoring is how you, or is a part of the step in figuring out what you might want to work on. I initially loved the assessment scoring. I liked this idea, and the power sheets also have like a scoring component to them, except they don't offer any questions to my knowledge to help you come up with your score. So I like that they're giving you something to think about. However, I don't like all the questions. Some of them are just how the question is phrased, and I'll give you one example. There are personal goals or projects that I want to achieve or complete. This is in the personal category. Having personal goals that you want to achieve are not the same, or is not the same as having goals that you are actively working towards. Yes, you need to know what your goals are or know what your projects are in order to take steps. But if you're not taking any steps, having personal goals are kind of useless. So I have personal goals, ones that are meaningful. I have multiple. Do I give myself a 10? Am I taking any steps to work towards some of them? Some of them, yes. Some of them, no. So I could easily just say for personal goals that there are goals I want to achieve and I'm taking steps. Another one that I don't love is I have fun in ways that serve my highest and best self. I, in part, don't know what that means. I have fun in ways that I find fulfilling, rewarding, joyful. It's kind of how I interpret it, so I can write it that way, which again is fine. However, I do not need to have fun in a way that is productive leaning, because having fun in ways that serve my highest and best self kind of feels a little bit like productivity leaning. Like your fun should be that way, when like fun is allowed to just be fun, but that could also just mean that like you're having downtime, you're not thinking, you're unplugging. Or if you want your fun to just like be whatever you want that's not destructive or harming you in any way, then that's serving your highest and best self. I left some of these blank so I could kind of talk through some of the questions that initially I found just not representative of how I think about my goals. And I think it would be, in this example, I think it would be better to have a differently phrased question altogether. I have clarity and peace in the areas I feel like I'm lacking. Maybe this just means that I'm lacking, to be honest. But if you're lacking in an area, this is family relationships. Are you supposed to feel clarity and peace if you're lacking? This, like, I don't know, some of these questions, I just find like I can read them. They are English. I'm registering them, but they just don't make sense to me. Also, I'm actively designing what I want for my relationships. This to me does not sound like a positive thing, and just like relationships should look the way that I want them to look. And to me, I feel like this is getting at something like having positive relationships and working on relationships that are perhaps like maybe have negative elements to them, or relationships that just like need work or strengthening. You're doing that. Actively designing what I want from relationships is just not a positive connotation to me and kind of icks me out a little bit. I'm just gonna, I can let you take a look at this page to see some of the questions. I just don't find some of the questions helpful or necessary, or the way that I think about these categories. I'm going to take a second to review the scores I have on here and also to do my tallies, and then we'll come back and I'll do in my coloring. All right, so I am doing overall really well. So majority of these scores are in the 7, 6.9, 7.7, 7.1, 7.1, 6.9, 7.9, 7.6. And I think if I had the opportunity, I would change the weights of specific questions, because certain questions matter more to me than others. At this point in my life, as an example, in health and wellness, the stuff on this side matters a lot to me. And while I have some great things going that I do think are important to acknowledge, if I were to say like the score 7.1, I think is like, when you take into account the whole picture, makes sense. But I would feel more comfortable rating myself maybe like a 6.5, because that feels more reflective of the things that are the most important to me at this point in my life right now, if that makes sense. Is that my life changed very drastically over the course of 2024. And if I were to do this assessment in, let's say, somewhere between January and March of 2024, bet your ass these would have been 5s and 6s across the board. I have been making lots of I've been striving quite strongly in like the financial category, and also like really taking care of my mind and my body. Like, I've had some running goals that have really done so much for me mentally. It shows me that I can follow through, that I can achieve goals. It also shows me regularly I'm doing better and like hitting personal bests that far exceed what I ever thought possible for myself. It's challenging how I've perceived myself and my own limitations, and it's shown me how self-imposed many of my perceived limitations are. Let's color this in now, and we'll round up or down as applicable. Yes, this is 7. Oh, that was kind of thick. I lost some footage there. I was just filling in my little chart here. So for this category, I'm just going to leave it as a 7. And I think one of the downsides of planning is this idea that like you always need to be striving to better yourself, and like that is the goal, that is the ideal, like we should be doing that, when sometimes just maintaining what you have, like I think it's truly possible for somebody to have a desire to maintain what they're doing in every category of their life. Just because it's working for them doesn't necessarily mean that it's perfect, but it's just working for them. Financial is really important to me this year. We're going to put this to a 9 as a goal. And actually kind of wish I did that for health and wellness. But I think it's going to look super funny if we're just leave it as an 8. Because if I do a 9 here, it's just going to be weird. So we're going to leave that. Oh, shit. No, that's an 8. This deserves one more. Oh, I got distracted, y'all. We're going to do this one as an 8 as well. Because it's 7.6. So here's an example I think that's really fitting since we're talking about physical environment. I rated myself pretty highly in this one. Not because I think my life is perfect, or I think that my place is perfect. And I'm just going to leave that where it is as well. It's really just that my physical environment, I think it's fine. Like, I'm so grateful that I have a home to live in that is heated, that has water. Like, I can take a shower. I have food, like all of that. The lights are on. That is wonderful and something I am not taking for granted. Feel content with my space without the needing to improve it. It is fine being imperfect because this is the exact place to be in at this point in my life. You know, like just because, let's say, I don't own my own home, or because the place isn't bigger or more trendy, or like having all of the trendy organized components doesn't make my home deficient. And I also don't feel the need to strive towards those things. So that is the compass assessment. My 2 most important categories this year are financial, which I'll put a little star here, and also, depending on how you'll look at it, I put similar stuff in health and wellness as in personal. I feel like at this point in time, I'm conceiving it more in the lens of health and wellness, because I also get like the mental component as well as the like physical component, which is like going really well. And I am just doing super, super well there. And I want to keep that going. So now we're going to go into the annual goals. A lot of this is going to look the same as this initial sheet. I just think there's going to just be some changes. For personal, my overall focus is making being in my own mind a more positive and joyful experience. I was initially thinking to say that I want my mindset to be more positive and maybe perhaps joyful. However, being in your own head is not necessarily the same as your mindset. And I want the experience of being me, which involves the way that you think, the way that you act, and just being you inside your head. I want that to be more positive and joyful. And so there are some self-love, self-worth kind of positive outlook things that I'm going to be working on cultivating. What I noticed right away with this method, as compared to what I've seen with something like the power sheets, is that there is very little guidance for helping you set your goals. And they do have things to consider in each life category, which I'm going to pop up on the screen now. So they give you some areas that you could think about, which is great. However, let's say I just put this, like positive outlook, self-worth, that kind of stuff. Well, how the hell do you do it? I put some hows over here because all of this is nice in theory, but there's no plan here. And they also don't offer, in my opinion, a way to help you gain your plan. There's also no real work on like why I think this is important to me, why this matters. There's a little bit of that with the how will my life improve by reaching these personal goals. How am I going to do it? And also just like the why is it important to me? That kind of stuff is missing from this. This is equivalent to, and this is actually how I did it the first time. I brainstormed in my journal in each of these categories for like 3 hours. There's very like the thing that's supposed to help you is the assessment. And there are topics that I could take directly from here. And I guess in a sense I did with this positive outlook and, feeling happy and fulfilled. All of that, like these are the things that impede my ability to be happy and fulfilled. So there is some taking from the self-assessment, but I just don't feel like it's enough. And I think I would like more prep work, more support in extracting information. On the other hand, like doing this would be nice and it is important to me, but I also have some really clear goals that came from elsewhere. Like, I'm not saying this isn't important. This is for sure important. But I think if this didn't exist, like this personal category didn't exist, I think I would still get to some of these from some of the other goals in other categories. And so part of me also wonders that, like, do I need more support in having clearer goals or getting all that prep work done if I already have highly specific goals that I feel that way about? For fun and rec, I really saw hobbies as part of this category opposed to personal, because my hobbies I just see them as more as fun things to do and more about like fun ways to spend my time, I guess, is how I more conceptualize it. And what I have noticed that has gone really well this year for me is this focusing on things that bring me joy and really focusing on the joy aspect of it. And running is part of here too. And I initially had running on here, but after further consideration, I am putting it in a different category. This like idea of like even just tweaking things to make them as joyful as possible and thinking through the lens of joy has made all of my hobbies more enjoyable. Like this year, I'm currently at 94 books that I've read because I stopped focusing on things that I should read and just started or continuing to read things that I really like. DNFing books that I don't like or aren't hitting as hard normally. And just kind of carving out regular time for reading. And it like nearly doubled my books. And so I also kind of put this like idea of joy in downtime as well, because reading is downtime, but I consider it more of a hobby. Yes, you do hobbies in downtime, but there are other things that I don't do as hobbies that are ways to spend my downtime, and just kind of infusing this idea of happiness and joy and fulfillment even in downtime as well. I thought initially that might add pressure to how I spend my time, but that has not been true. I failed in family relationships because that one just seemed easier. I left a couple of things off for personal reasons. I didn't put a focus. If I did, I might just put maintenance actually, because I feel really good about this category. Things with my partner are going awesomely. I really like a lot of the things that we're doing. And there are some things that I would like to do, but are not up to me. Things need to align, I should say. With friendships, I'm hoping to see my best friend next year. And there are certain ways that I would like to find more community. I find the job that I'm doing extremely isolating if I let it. I think like continuing to connect and like maintain relationships with some creative friends, but also offline friends to do that as well. For this category, I really see this as work. And I have a couple of things that I really want to work on. My content creation schedule has gotten off the rails the past few months. It's really impacted, I feel like, how I make videos, because I do feel like sometimes I want more time with them, whether that's the scripting stage or the editing stage. And I need to build in more of a buffer, like to get ahead of videos instead of, I just kind of feel like I'm constantly chasing my tail. My ideal schedule is alternating between 3 and 4 videos a week. If there's 4 weeks in a month, week 1, 3 videos, week 2, 4, week 3, 3 videos, week 4, 4 videos, like that. And this doesn't happen a lot of the time because of the schedule. So if I can build in some buffer and get ahead on videos, then I can be consistent, which is important to me, without like losing my mind. And, having, offline life. I also want to increase my video quality. I think some of those things are really simple, like how I edit my videos, even just like where I look in my videos. Gotta move that. I get distracted when I'm filming very easily, as you could probably tell over the course of this video. Yeah, where I look, cuts, how I speak and talk, the words that I use, my overall camera presence, things like that are things that I think are really easily work-onable over time to improve quality, even in like small ways. What's the deal? I think this is so wild. I would love to hit this milestone by the end of 2025. If I look at my stats, if they continue, which is always a big if, that is doable. It's so wild. It's so wild to be like, oh, I think this is possible if it just continues. I would love like to get the little plaque. Oh my God. This is what I would really love. Like truly. And I think things like being more consistent absolutely helps with that. I cannot control how many people subscribe to my channel. I can't. However, I can control how often I post and the kinds of quality that I post. So I want to control things that I can control. Okay, I think it's going to be helpful to talk about the last 4 together. For spiritual and personal growth, I just left this super simple. As I was mentioning at the top of the video, a lot of the personal growth is happening in other sections, like mental health and wellness. This one, if I go through and I work on this stuff, that is tremendous personal growth. And I don't want to put too much other stuff to distract from that. So I just put focus on the good. I started learning Arabic earlier this year, but honestly fell off because it's such a complicated language to learn. Way harder than I thought. I also really want to learn to sew this year. So I kind of kept it to things that I felt like I would really want to do, kept it simple. For health and wellness, I have a mind and a body section. So for my body, I already have a regular workout routine. I really came into my own with running this year. So far, if all goes well, I have one run tonight, which would make it to 52 runs. And we still have like 9 or 10 weeks left of the year. My initial goal for 2024 was 200 kilometers total runs. I am already over that. Without this last run, I'm at 51 runs and 242 kilometers. My 2024 goal was 200 kilometers. And I put that goal because I wanted to do 52 runs, like one run a week. But I feel like, I expressed it as 200 kilometers. That was the event of averaging 5 kilometers a run. That's my average, but sometimes I don't do 5 kilometers because sometimes, it's just not in the cards. So if I do less one week, or like I miss some weeks, 200 kilometers would adjust for that. Because I smashed that goal, I want to up it, but I don't want to be too challenging in how I up it. So I'm at 242. 320 is not even an additional 100 kilometers. I don't know exactly where I'll fall this year because we still have lots of time left. So right now I'm setting it at 320 and 64 runs. 64 runs came to that number was one additional run a month. So if I do 52 runs, that's one run a week. An additional 12 runs is an additional an additional one run per month. So I put run 5 to 6 times a month. Now, how I'm going to work out this goal until we finish the year is I'm going to work on building the habit of running more while putting the total kilometer time to my current kilometers. I hope that makes sense. Go to the dentist. I'm not even going to go there. I need to do that. For mind, I really want to continue the work that I'm doing this year. I started going to therapy. It's been awesome. It's been amazing. And I really want to continue that in the work that I'm doing in challenging the negativity and the criticism and the self-doubt and the old narratives and all of that. This is a super important category to me because of all the work that's coming from therapy, but also the running this year has just been such like a joyful expression of it's just been so amazing, so incredible. I just want to continue that next year. The last page. We'll do physical environment first. This is really, as I was mentioning, really a maintaining a chore log, regular cleaning routine, things that are working well, continuing to use what I have, panning products, appreciating what I have, that kind of thing. I want to reevaluate the living situation. I don't want to say move because that, like, there are certain thresholds, there are certain criteria that need to be met for that to happen. And if that didn't happen in 2025, I wouldn't be upset about it because staying where we are could be the best and like right choice, and that wouldn't be disappointing. And so I just had reevaluate because I just want to have that conversation to kind of see where things are. Financial. If I could only accomplish one goal this year, it would be this, baby. This is the whole category that spurred this. I'm like so fired up. I'm like, I'm fucking ready. So my goal is to save up for a down payment on a house. According to, I've done a bunch of calculations based on like my income and all of that. And I've saved up and I want to save up the rest by next December. I'm still kind of at a loss for words in some respect because I have been earning fairly good money for a few months. I've been saving it. I had a talk with my financial advisor. I've done all of that, but it just didn't occur to me until October how possible this is. I think maybe I've just been waiting for the other shoe to drop. This is a good thing. Surely this can't actually be reality. And it's taken me like 6 months for it to sink in. So I want to max out my TFSA, my TFHSA. I think the TFHSA, this is the tax-free home saving account. Or is it their tax-free first home saving account? I think that's what that is. Max both of those out. So if I can, I want to. That's going to be the goal. And then also the sinking fund situation did not go that well for me this year. I really want to get this going and like have them really concrete and actually contribute to sinking funds. So that's going to be a great goal. I also have a couple of routines that I want to implement, which is maintaining regular budget and other maintenance routine, but also I want a more like robust like financial routine. I am good about checking in with my finances every month, and I do spend time on that, but I want it to be more than just like checking my credit cards and paying my bills and adding the like savings to savings accounts. I want to do more reflecting, I think is what I mean to say. And just, yeah, being honest about where I can improve, what's going well. And I think I need both of that. I can be overly critical, which is also why the fact that my self-assessment scores were so high is truly like, I am amazed at myself that I was able to be so kind and so, I feel like, honest and generous. That's like, you're doing the damn thing, you know, you're living out the way that your intentions, you're being more positive, more celebratory, which I think has been missing from my outlook. So these are my goals for this year. And one of the joys of this is I consider this like my practice run. I get to practice with this for 2 months. Something's going to change. But like, I feel it. Something's going to change. It could be for good. It could just be like, all of this is too much noise and I just want to focus on 1 or 2 things, and that's totally fine. But I like this idea of getting to practice before I buy anything, which I freaking love. So that's everything. Thanks for sitting at my kitchen table and planning with me. If you've also been feeling like me and you've just been feeling this desire to get into your goals, just not wait. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would like to hear some of your goals that you're working on today. Even if you're at the tail end of your goals, what are you working on? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching and hanging out with me today. Love it if you would subscribe to catch more content like this, and I hope to see you again around here soon. Bye.